Hello, everyone. I'm Ron Gerber, the head of Angel Bee. I'm so excited that Jeff Arbour, one of the top sustainability environmental experts within Orange County's Waste and Recycling Group, is here to share some of his expertise on what OCWR is doing. If you look at the acronym for his very important and substantial agency, OCWR, it's been a very strategic pivot from that third letter W on waste. Historically, their main role was in managing the landfills to store waste. And now, in today's world, and even more so in the future, Jeff and his team are focused on recycling. So we've asked him to talk about all the exciting things that Orange County Waste and Recycling is doing. I think one of the things that I found particularly interesting when I was speaking with Jeff before this interview was that their landfills are one of the best sources of renewable energy in terms of the natural gas that's generated just through their landfill operations. I did not think of that as a source of sustainable energy. Most people think, well, there's solar, there's hydroelectric, stuff like that. You wouldn't necessarily equate landfills with that, but I think it's a testament to the innovation within OCWR. I'm now going to turn off my camera, turn it over to Jeff so he could share with us all the exciting things going on at OCWR, focusing on not what this very substantial agency is doing, but also how their resources, and in broad strokes, the county's resources, can be made available to organizations who are watching this video.
Thank you. Yeah, again, my name is Jeff Arbour. I'm the Environmental Services Manager at OC Waste and Recycling. I just want to thank Angel Bee for reaching out to allow us to tell our story, particularly around renewable energy and sustainability and how things are different now. One thing that I've observed is a little bit different now. Waste and trash talk isn't a typical sort of household topic historically, but lately, especially in California and in Orange County, it's been an increased discussion topic, primarily around organics recycling. There are a lot of folks who are getting notification information that, hey, you're going to get a new bin, and this is what you're going to put in there, and this is where it's going to go. So I'm not going to jump into that yet, but I thought I would just start with a little bit about what we do and who OC Waste Recycling is. So OC Waste Recycling is a government agency. It's a department of the County of Orange. And as mentioned, we historically been the owners and operators, and we are currently the owners and operators of the three landfills, three active landfills in Orange County. We have one to the north in the Brea area of Orange County, so Linda Alpha landfill, one in the central region of the county, in the Irvine area, the Frank R. Bowerman landfill, and one in the southern part of Orange County in the San Juan Capistrano area, the Prima de Checha landfill. So these are nicely located to allow for easy access for waste disposal. We also have 4 household hazardous waste centers. These waste centers really just allow a place for residents of Orange County to go and to bring household hazardous waste generated from their homes. It allows them a place to go to bring it for just the appropriate handling and disposal, and to keep it out of the landfills, because those things are not supposed to belong in the landfills. That includes e-waste recycling as well. To touch on recycling, big picture, first and foremost, because I just talked about hazardous waste centers, is the swap program, and that allows you to bring things like your cleaning products from under the sink that you're not using anymore. You can go to these household hazardous waste centers, turn them into the swap program, and then say you need some WD-40 and it's on the shelf, you can grab it off and bring it home for use there. So it really hits that reuse and reduce part of that cycle. We also do metal and mattress recycling, which I'll talk about, and organics recycling is the big one I'll talk about. And last, I count this as recycling, but it's landfill gas to energy. It's taking a byproduct of landfilling and turning it into a renewable energy source. Lastly, we, as OC Waste Recycling, we do outreach and education, educating the communities on things like recycling, on waste regulations, what goes in what bin, and how to keep things out of certain places, and how to get recyclables to the right place. We also do that education through a partnership with Discovery Cube, and also education for children through Inside the Outdoors program here in Orange County. I like this image. It kind of kicks off the landfill gas to renewable energy aspect of things, and it is sort of a circular economy. It starts off with waste that's being generated at homes and businesses and institutions, and that waste is picked up by your trash guy, right? Right in that trash truck, and whatever isn't sorted out, separated out through the different bins or recycling processes comes to the landfill. So we just basically accept what nobody else has wants or has caught along the way. And OC Waste Recycling puts that in the landfill and covers it and landfills it. And once it goes in the ground, it starts to decompose, and that decomposition creates a methane-rich landfill gas. And that gas is conveyed to landfill gas to energy or renewable energy plants. And all the energy made at those plants is brought back to the communities that produce the waste, and it's used there as renewable energy. Just to dig in a little bit, there's a lot going on here, but I thought the anatomy of a landfill really shows the engineering that goes into landfilling. But I'm going to just focus on the landfill gas aspect. As you can see in the image, there are cells of waste that are layered up over time in a landfill, and as a landfill is developed, landfill gas collection wells are installed, and vacuum is applied to those wells, and it conveys the landfill gas over to the energy plant. So as that gas is generated through decomposition, it's sipped up and it's conveyed over to a conversion facility. Our portfolio looks like this. We have 3 renewable energy plants, 1 at each of our active landfills. So that's a total of 67 megawatts of energy that's being produced at any one time. That's enough energy to power 80,000 Orange County homes. And just to dig in a little bit in the technology part of things, I'll start with the Linda Alpha landfill and our energy plant there in the Brea area. This is our largest facility. I think it's like 37 megawatts. And we use combined cycle turbines. So the gas goes in, it's combusted in the turbine, it spins, producing renewable electricity that is pushed back out to the community. Frank R. Bowerman landfill in the Irvine area, that one is our newest one, built in 2016. They use a slightly different technology. It uses 7 internal combustion engines, so basically car engines, right? And the gas goes in, is combusted, it turns the generators and produces renewable electricity out to the community. And in the southern part of Orange County, at our Prima landfill, we have, it's a little bit of a smaller plant, it's our oldest plant. It's 2 internal combustion engines cranking out about 6-7 megawatts of renewable electricity from there. And looking forward, as I mentioned, landfill gas has a high methane content. It's about 50% methane. And we have an old enclosed landfill site in the New Park Coast area we call Coyote Canyon landfill. And what we're working on there is the development of a landfill gas to renewable natural gas plant. And so what that does is it separates out the methane from the landfill gas and creates a pure methane. And that pure methane will be injected directly into the existing natural gas grid. And that gas can be used in any different ways, from residential, commercial, industrial, or even for renewable CNG for renewable transportation fuel. So talking a little bit about our pivot. So looking back historically, OC Waste Recycling has been the owners and operators of landfills, push, spread, cover, and we've been pivoting and transitioning more toward recycling. Like I said, we just get what everybody doesn't seem to want along the way. And one of those things is mattresses. Mattresses are not ideal for landfilling. There is always still waste that needs to go somewhere if it can't be recycled in any way. And mattresses take up a lot of space, and they're really difficult to landfill and all that. And mattresses also contain a lot of materials that can be recycled. So what we've been doing is identifying these mattresses coming in through the waste stream and pulling them aside and sending them off for recycling. So we're now up to over 2,000 mattresses per month that we're identifying and pulling out at each landfill and sending off for recycling. Another one, low-hanging fruit, metals. So refrigerators, dishwashers, barbecues, all these things end up coming into the landfill. We're identifying those, we're setting them aside, and we're sending them off for metals recycling as well. So we're up to 150 tons per month metal recycling that we're capturing at the end of the waste line. One of the things that's different as well, and is different for everybody who's living in California and Orange County, and that is the big shift in identifying organics as a product that can be recycled in producing products from there. What is organic? It's pretty simple. It's anything that comes from a living thing, plants or animals. And 66% of the waste that goes to landfills is organic. And organic can be things like grass and garden trimmings, yard waste, and all the food waste that's coming out of a home or a business or an institution. And one of the things that's really pushing this in the state of California, or helping to assist this push, is SB 1383. And I really see this more of like a greenhouse gas initiative. As I mentioned, the landfill gas is high in methane. Methane is a very potent greenhouse gas, and when all this organic waste goes into the landfill, a lot of this methane gas is generated. And the state of California is saying, hey, this is a recyclable product, and the goal is to divert 75% of organic waste from landfills by 2025. That is a lot of infrastructure. What I'm showing on this slide here is really the magnitude of this. So we got 66% of the waste going to landfills is organic, and if at a 75% diversion rate, we're looking at, in California at 18 million tons of new of organic waste that needs a new home, right? That's 59,000 tons per day, and just in Orange County specifically, that's about 5,000 tons per day of organic waste that needs a new place to go. And these places aren't built. So there's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be developed locally, and locally keeps it cost effective. And so we see opportunity to help our local communities and businesses by identifying and developing local cost effective solutions for organics recycling. And really what we're focusing on is composting and anaerobic digestion. Again, residences and businesses are producing these types of organic wastes, and composting and anaerobic digestion are CalRecycle approved technologies for recycling organics. And looking at those technologies, really the goal is to avoid greenhouse gas generation. And composting doesn't produce methane. And anaerobic digestion is very similar to kind of what happens in the landfill, but very quickly and in containers, essentially. So it really minimizes the risk of greenhouse gas emissions. And OC Waste Recycling is in phase 1. We have a 3-phase plan right now, and we're in phase 1, which is composting. So this is really targeted at turning yard waste, green waste into a recycled product. And we've developed 2 full-scale large composting facilities at our landfills co-located. That keeps the compost facilities here local in Orange County, which is densely populated and has limited real estate, and composting takes up a lot of real estate. But we're able to co-locate these at our landfills. And we started with open windrow composting because it was the quickest way we could get some organics recycling going. It took the least amount of permitting and engineering. We do look to move toward cover aerated static pile. That's basically an active composting process that pushes air through, speeding up the process, pushing through more product in a shorter period of time, just expanding our ability to support the communities of Orange County in organics recycling. Phase 2 of our organic recycling plan, again with the focus of keeping things local and cost effective, is the potential to utilize existing infrastructure. So why develop anaerobic digesters if there's maybe already some around? And we believe there's opportunity in looking at wastewater treatment plants. So basically everything that goes down the drain in Orange County and in Southern California goes to wastewater treatment plants. And these plants use anaerobic digesters to pre-treat that water, that wastewater, and remove some of the organics. And we see opportunity to utilize any wastewater treatment plant anaerobic digester capacity as a form of organics conversion and recycling. This has a lot of benefits. One, it's already built, so there's no investment in new digesters. 2, it's been proven that even a little bit of injection of processed organics, or what we call source separated organics, into these digesters greatly increases the biogas production. And basically that's a renewable energy source. And so these wastewater treatment plants can take that biogas as a renewable fuel source, convert it into renewable electricity for their own plants, also offsetting their own electricity costs, and potentially exporting renewable energy in the form of fuels or electricities. And lastly, it has been shown that the injection of source separated organics into wastewater treatment plant digesters greatly reduces the biosolids production. So there's an end product of anaerobic digestion, and that is another waste product, and it's in the form of biosolids. So injection reduces those biosolids in that waste product. Phase 3 is, okay, we've done the composting, we've done the co-digestion. Is there still a need for infrastructure? Probably, we don't know yet. But if there is, phase 3 is really development of new existing or new local infrastructure, likely in the form of anaerobic digestion, that allows these organic materials to go into and to be converted into products such as renewable natural gas, or renewable transportation fuels, or renewable electricity. There are also products of digestate. It's a liquid byproduct and the solid byproduct from the anaerobic process, and that can be used for soil amendments solely, or integrated into compost facilities to enhance the nutrient value of composting. So it could be, partnered up potentially with our existing compost projects to provide an even higher value product. And so as you've seen here so far, there's likely going to be a big insert of renewable energy into the markets. We'll see a lot more renewable natural gases and electricities being produced. And so it's interesting to see, it'll be interesting to see how that affects the value of renewable energy. But I think what's even more interesting is the California's SB 1383. It requires the communities where this waste came from, it requires them to buy back these organic recycled products. So these cities and communities will be buying back. It can be renewable natural gas or CNG. It can be renewable electricity, compost, mulch. So it's basically creating that circular economy like I talked about in the beginning with the landfill gas. It's the same thing. These homes and businesses are producing organic waste. It's being transported by waste haulers, will go to recycling facilities, and the products will go back to the community. Just to kind of close it out in terms of what we're working on in the area of organics, we have our 3 phases. Like I mentioned, we're in phase 1. We have our 2 active compost facilities and the 3rd one being developed. That's 21-22. In 22 through 23, we anticipate working through the co-digestion option, taking advantage of local infrastructure, existing infrastructure to keep waste fees low and recycling fees low. And looking into the future, by 25-26, we should have a good idea of what additional infrastructure, if any, needs to be developed, and then start developing that locally to keep things cost effective and to provide that organics conversion available to our communities. So that wraps up what waste recycling is doing in the area of sustainability and renewable energy. You can always go to OC Landfills or OClandfills.com to find more information about OC Landfills, reach out to us. What's also very helpful is talk to your city. The cities in which you live or in which you have a business, they have programs around all of this as well that kind of funnel up to OC Waste Recycling. So they have sustainability coordinators and recycling coordinators that you can talk to that can teach you how to get things done with respect to your business or even with your waste hauler. And the last one is you could speak directly to your waste hauler about what resources they have and what they're doing with waste in the area of recycling and renewable energy. So I appreciate y'all taking the time to listen to our story and for having us on here. Thank you.
And Jeff, one of the good things too, when you try as a local organization in Southern California, there might be guidelines coming down from Sacramento, coming across the country from DC. OCWR can also be a central point for helping organizations really understand what are the guidelines, the mandates, federally, state-oriented, and then making sure that organizations are not only compliant with those guidelines, but also can take full advantage of any grants or resources or incentives as part of these mandates.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources. Waste recycling is one of them. There's just even from a regulatory standpoint, the local enforcement agency within the County of Orange and the healthcare agency. And like I said, there's actually a lot of resources and availability of information at the local city level, especially around the organics recycling, because they are technically responsible and in charge of those recycling programs. So the cities will also be a really good place to start. And you can always talk with OC Waste Recycling. We can get you in touch with the right people.
Or just contact us at Angel Beat. You might hear this. This is useful. I'm sure there might be people, let's say, in Riverside County listening to this who might have some different concerns, but overlapping. So you can rely upon Angel Beat, our key partners. We just, I'm ready to, I'm ready to move out here. My daughter plays volleyball. She wants to move out here yesterday. And I think in all seriousness, it is very inspirational and economically sound to hear how one of the preeminent government agencies in Southern California is being very progressive in embracing these solutions. If you work in the private sector, you'll see that organizations are increasingly being evaluated based on their green initiatives. And I think many of the companies can learn from what OCWR is doing. So thank you so much for your time here, Jeff.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
All right, great. Bye-bye now.